New charges have been filed in the case of acts of sabotage on the Polish railway. The authorities have detained another Ukrainian citizen, Vladimir B., who was acting on behalf of the Russian secret services. The National Prosecutor's Office announced that the man had been charged with aiding and abetting acts of sabotage and arrested him to be detained for 2 months. In September, Vladimir B. allegedly drove one of the saboteurs to the future site of the railway attack, where it was possible to scout the area. However, the Internal Security Agency, ABW, has expressed its dissatisfaction with the prosecutor's office because 4 suspects in the sabotage case were released last week. ABW officers claim that there is evidence that should lead to an indictment. A third person has been charged in connection with acts of sabotage on the Polish railways. The suspect is Vladimir B., a Ukrainian citizen acting on behalf of the Russian secret services.
Władimir B. został zatrzymany.
Vladimir B. was arrested on Thursday, 20th of November, by officers of the Central Bureau of Investigation, and on Saturday, the prosecutor presented him with the charges, submitted a request to the court for his temporary detention, and the court granted the request. 2 months in custody and charges of aiding and abetting acts of sabotage. The prosecutor's office determined that in September, Vladimir B. drove one of the saboteurs to the sites of the planned attacks, that is, near the towns of Mika in the Mazovia province and Gołąb in the Lublin province. The area was surveyed and the sites of future acts of sabotage were selected. It is very possible that the number of suspects and persons arrested in the current case will increase. This is because the saboteurs may have been operating as part of a Russian spy network. 2 suspects involved in the acts of sabotage fled to Belarus and have not yet been located. A court hearing on their pre-trial detention has been scheduled for the 27th of November. This will allow an arrest warrant to be issued and an international search to be conducted.
Zarówno Jewgenij I, jak i Aleksander K.
Both Yevhen I and Alexander K. entered and left Poland on the basis of their real documents, that is, on the basis of their real data. Shockingly, the saboteurs entered the country after presenting their genuine IDs. One of them, Yevhen I, already had a conviction for an act of sabotage in Ukraine. The question is why they were ever allowed to enter Poland. This episode has exposed the ineptitude of the Polish secret services because it turned out that those who blew up a section of the tracks were able calmly to leave the country. On Tuesday, Jacek Dobrynski, spokesman for the coordinator of the secret services, announced new arrests. The information was confirmed by the National Prosecutor's Office, which issued a statement on Friday. As part of these activities, on the 18th of November 2025, officers of the Internal Security Agency and the Central Bureau of Investigation detained 4 people. The evidence gathered did not provide grounds for charging them with participation in the acts of sabotage of November the 15th to the 16th, 2025. After being questioned as witnesses, 3 of the 4 individuals were released. The prosecutor's office brought charges against one of these individuals, but they were unrelated to the case as they concerned the concealment of documents, including Russian passports. Today, the news agency Onet reported that one of the released individuals was allegedly the driver of Yevhen I and Alexander K. However, he was reportedly unaware of who the Ukrainians were and on whose behalf they were acting. Throughout Thursday and Friday, we were in constant contact with the prosecutor's office. They said that the evidence we provided of the involvement of these 4 individuals in acts of sabotage was insufficient. We said that everything fitted together and qualified for the detainees to be charged under Article 130, Paragraph 7 of the Criminal Code. So the situation is as follows. 2 saboteurs fled to Belarus. On Tuesday, the Internal Security Agency and the police detained 4 people, who were released after questioning. Vladimir B. was not detained until Thursday. Our services should focus on detecting such attempts as quickly as possible, identifying individuals willing to cooperate with foreign intelligence services, and monitoring important transport routes and critical infrastructure facilities. These are not adequately protected. As the news agency Niezależna has uncovered, Polish Railways has not issued specific guidelines to its subordinate railway companies on where to increase the number of track patrols. What is more, the company's newly prepared documents do not address increasing security. According to current standards, inspections of tracks and turnouts must be carried out daily. According to the new plans, they will be carried out every 3 to 4 days. Until now, track inspections were mandatory once or twice a week, depending on the category of the railway line and the condition of the track. What is now being proposed instead? the elimination of inspections on lines where passenger trains run, replacing them with train tours and visual observation at speeds of 80 to 200 kilometers an hour. At around the same time that Russian services were carrying out attacks on key sections of the Polish railway in Poland, a Russian spy was present at an event attended by Prime Minister Donald Tusk.
Dzień dobry.
On November the 19th to the 21st in Warsaw, the Science for Business Congress brought together scientists, entrepreneurs and politicians, led by the Polish Prime Minister. According to the news agency Niezależna, Stanisław Szczypowski, who was convicted years ago for spying on behalf of the Russian Federation, participated in the event. He was arrested by the Internal Security Agency in October 2014. At the time, he was working as a lawyer in a Warsaw law firm. The man was charged with spying for Russian intelligence. Initially, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison, but his sentence was eventually extended by another 3 years. The trial revealed that Szczypowski had gained access to, among other things, a classified report by the Supreme Audit Office on the gas terminal in Świnoujście. However, this does not prevent the Polish authorities from allowing Szczypowski to appear at events with Polish politicians, or notably inside the Polish Parliament building. This was the case in May at the opening of an exhibition as part of the Polish presidency of the Council of the European Union. We are pleased to announce that our CEO, Stanisław Szczypowski, had the honour of participating in the opening ceremony of the Medina exhibition in the main hall of the Sejm of the Republic of Poland. Szczypowski, now the director of a company specialising in business and legal consulting, appeared there at the invitation of the ambassador of the Republic of Tunisia. He spent 7 years in prison for working for the Russian intelligence service, GRU, and today he freely attends conferences and meetings with the most important politicians, not only from the ruling coalition, but also from the opposition. He is a dangerous man, and unfortunately, everything is happening under the watchful eye of our evidently infiltrated secret services. At the time this material was being edited, the Chancellery of the Parliament had not responded to inquiries as to how a Russian spy had entered the Polish Parliament. Today's events show that neither the Polish state nor its most important officials are protected from Russian spies, who are having a field day during Donald Tusk's term in office.